Hi everyone, you're watching Folk Project Television, and I'm your host, Joe Guzzo. Today's show is going to be a really good one. I have a special guest. His name is Kevin Neidig, and he hails from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Now, this gentleman plays multiple instruments, and he does it really well. He writes and performs his own material, and so far everything I've heard has been really terrific. So we're going to go right to the interview and listen to what Kevin has to say. Hi, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm awesome. How are you doing?
I'm quite well, thanks. Now, I know that the pandemic shut everything down, of course, and I'm sure that you were shut down as well. Am I correct in that assumption?
Oh yeah.
So who have you been with during this time? Are you who you been hunkered down with?
Well, just me and my wife
That's
staying
enough.
at home. I also teach music, and so all of the lessons have moved from being in person. Everything's online. So
Hmm.
I was glad to be able to do that. I mean, what would we do without the internet, right? I mean, we'd be in bad shape right now.
Exactly, exactly. Now you have been living with your wife through all this time, and is she ready to throw you out yet?
No, no, she isn't.
That's a good thing. Yeah, my wife and I are very happy. You know, it's funny. My it's not funny, but kind of ironic. My wife has a number of chronic illnesses, so we've kind of been hunkered down before the pandemic, and it's like all of a sudden the rest of the world caught up with what we had to live with for the last 10 years. So it's been an interesting time. Now, you have a lot of things going on while you've been in isolation, and I'd like you to tell us about at least some part of those things. Why don't you tell us about your new album that you have coming out? It's Writing with Fire, correct?
Yeah, so Writing with Fire is out. It's on vinyl, and when you guys see the songs, you'll see the picture of that. I have that in the background, um, and that is if you go to my website, you can. I think I have it listed under vinyl. It just says under the link, and it comes with the vinyl. It comes with the CD. It comes with downloads, and I made the choice on that one to not put it on the streaming platforms. We don't make any money from that. There's I don't know, artists just kind of give their music away, and they just kind of people assume like, oh, we're making all this money from it, and we don't.
No, I
And
know. Yeah.
and it costs a lot of money to record, a lot of money to put it on those streaming platforms, and so I was like, I'm not going to put it up. I'm just going to do it this way, and if you want it, you have to see me live, and I'll have it, and go to my website or whatever. So that's the
Hmm.
way that was done, and I'm really happy with that, and that I put it on vinyl. I mean, I think that kind of like makes it a little bit more legitimate. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. The old classic vinyl record is it's like I said, it's classic, and it certainly you can't go wrong that way.
Yeah. And even if you don't listen to it, I mean, the size of it, the artwork
Mhm.
is so much better than just looking at a little thumbnail, you know?
Yeah. Now, as we talk about the various things that you do, I'm going to make sure to put the URLs right on screen. So when we talk about things like the vinyl page, for example, that is going to be right down there under me, right here,
All
right
right.
here. So we'll have that there for everybody to see, and that goes with everything else that we might do or talk about. So now the album came out. How'd you come up with the name Writing with Fire?
So if you see the picture of the album, the uh, the artwork was done by my wife Steph's sister, who actually burned it into a piece of wood. So I have the original artwork. It's this big 12 by 12 piece of pine, I think it is, and she
Mhm.
hand drew it and then took a wood burner and burned it into the wood.
Nice.
And I had thought that it came out just wonderfully. It's amazing, but I always thought it was really neat how people would say, oh man, that person is fire, or they're playing as fire. It's kind of a new thing, but like somebody who's like playing really quick or whatever, and they put the little fire emoji on there,
Hmm.
and so I wanted something that had the word fire in it, and but then I found out that uh, in Greek, that kind of artwork, like burning the wood like that,
Hmm.
is called. I don't know, now the name escapes me, but it's uh, boy, I can't remember what it is. But anyway, it translates into writing with fire.
Oh, very good.
And I thought, man, that is such a cool name. And it, writing with fire. It's like they're all original songs. I'm
Hmm.
writing and the fire, and then the what the artwork is called. I thought I had to go with that.
Yeah, there's also, I believe, a documentary with the same name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, I think it has something to do with some activism in India.
Oh, interesting.
Just yeah, it's just a little thing I picked up this morning, and I could be completely wrong, but I thought that's what I read.
Nice.
Now you have a subscription service called Instrumental Monthly, I believe.
Yeah,
Why don't
yeah.
you
So
tell us about that? Yeah.
with the loss of gigs through the pandemic, I wanted to do something to kind of help generate a little bit of income from not playing gigs. So I created a subscription service. It's a pay what you want kind of thing, and every month I come out with a new piece
Mhm.
that that I put on the website. And as long as you're subscribed in there, you just go to the website, you click on the subscription button, it opens right up. I have like a bunch of songs in there now. I have behind the scenes footage where I talk about where did the song come from, how did I write the song, what instruments did I use, a whole lot of nerdy things like that, you know, that only a fan would give a crap about. But
Well,
it's fun,
I,
and
I
and I got a lot of people on there, and they're enjoying it. So, hey.
that's really cool. I know that people like myself, we like to know about more than just what's on the surface. Uh,
Yeah,
Knowing how the nuts and bolts went into a song or went into a performance or pretty much anything like that, I find fascinating. So that's one of the reasons we have the show, so we can share not just the songs, but a little bit about yourself. The nuts and bolts that make Kevin Neidig tick.
yeah, the music is very different. There's stuff with banjo, just very orchestrated things. And I have an instrumental album that I did a while ago called In Lakesh, and you can find that on Apple Music, Spotify, all of those different things.
Okay.
And I wanted to do more instrumental stuff because it allows me to kind of expand what I do a little bit more, because there's a lot of uh, ideas that I get that maybe just don't translate into something that I would put vocals to, you know.
Okay.
And
And
yeah, so
I know that you also have a my Riff Monkey guitar course. Why don't you tell us
yeah.
about that?
So Riff Monkey was something that I had come up with. It was at least 12 years ago that I created, and I had this idea of this whole online guitar course and everything that I wanted to do. I had a whole sheet. It has to do this, 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 and this, and this. And I didn't know how to make it. And turned out my cousin was like a big internet computer whiz. It's like, and everybody was like, well, you got to go to him. And I was like, okay. And I went to him and I was like, okay, I want to build this site. I need you to help me do this. I need to do all these different things. And he was like, man, I don't know how to do that. He's like, that sounds like way over my head. So I thought, well, if it's over his head, then it was just ahead of its time. But so I made it. It was basically like a PDF with videos and things like that in it.
Hmm.
And now the technology is there, and I'm able to use it and spend a lot of time converting it into that. So now what you get is it's 101 guitar riffs that's made for, you can use them for exercises. You could use them to help um, build your improv skills, um, strength, dexterity, flexibility, all of those things in your fingers. And so you'll see the music on the screen. There's three different camera angles that you can see both of my hands really clearly. And then You can slow down the music to whatever you want. You can speed it up. You can select maybe just one measure you want to work on and have that loop. So all these things are built into the website. And if you go, you'll find that on my website. If you go to kevinneidig.com, down below, and then click Sound Slice. You click that, and it'll take you right to the page. There's 4 free guitar riffs that you can check that out and see if it's something that you like. And yeah, it's a gigantic course. I mean, it's something that I think anybody, it would probably last you about 2 years.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting up actually the direct link to the soundslice.com website.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's on the store page. I think it's right on the front page right now.
Right. So we'll get that right down there.
Cool.
So before we get on to this next thing, since you have a number of songs that are going to be on your new album, why don't you tell us about one and we'll listen to it?
Okay. Well, are we going to do Minor John first?
Whatever order you would like to do, we do.
All right. Let's do Minor John first. This is from my album called The Long Road. Okay. And you can find this. You can, if you want to order the CD, it's on my website. It's also on all the streaming platforms. And this is a song that I wrote about my great grandfather, and he moved to Pennsylvania from Ireland back in the 1800s, and had become a coal miner, and had a tragic accident. Like a lot of people did, and the family had a newspaper article that was passed around, had been photocopied many times, that was from the newspaper from his obituary and things back then. And so I had read that whole story numerous times. I wanted to get all the details down because I really wanted, it was a big thing in our family on my mom's side, the Hennessy side. His name was John Hennessy. And yeah, so it's, everything in the song is true. And cool. I know a lot of people, they'll write songs, this is a historical song, but then they take little liberties and like, well, maybe we'll change this, maybe this actually happened. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make it like as accurate as I could. And so here's Minor John.
When Minor John and Thomas Poole were sitting blessed for fossil fuel, a tiny fuse no workman knew was waiting lit down in that hole. It was close to quitting time, Monday evening in the mine. Let's blow this hole, an easy one, before the working day is done. John was one of the blasting gang. He was the black powder man that poured a gallon in the hole. His time had come, God bless his soul. No time to wait, they acted fast. They pulled him back after the blast. What was said from lookers on, they could see John's jaw was gone. Ring a bell, say farewell. I'm not too long on this earth. Fare thee well, that sounds my knell. My love to you Friday night in 1888. By his side was his soulmate. Now John's wife has no one but 2 daughters and a son. The largest one for many a year. The funeral shedding many tears. John won't see 41, but I'm here now to sing his song. Ring a bell, say farewell. I'm not too long on this earth. Fare thee well, that sounds my knell. My love to you for what it's worth. One last thing before I go. What I'd like for you to know: don't risk your life, don't risk your soul, digging up a rich man's coal.
That's a great song. This is about the 3rd time I've heard the song. I keep replaying it. Now that I've heard your stuff, I find that I like it a lot. And the fact that this is a truly accurate historical record, that's unusual. Like you said, most people like to, put some bells and whistles on it, but you didn't do that with this. So thank you for that, first of all.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I understand that you write songs with kids, 6th graders. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? That sounds fascinating. Give us a little idea what you do there.
Yeah, so my cousin is a school teacher, and he plays. There's a song that I've written, and you can find this on online too. It's called Pockets, and I play it on the ukulele, and he plays this for all his kids. He teaches 6th graders, and so they all love it. And he talks about fossil fuels, and so when he has that section each year, he plays them Minor John, because that was his great grandfather as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so the kids know my music, and then each year I would go into the school and do like a little concert for them, and then play Pockets in this song, and have a little thing. And because of the pandemic, we did it online this year. And I said, his name is Rick. I was like, hey Rick, why don't we do something a little different? How about I'll have the kids like write songs, and then you'll send them to me, and I'll put music to it. And so they got in contact with the poetry teacher, English teacher. They were doing some poetry, and they had sent me 8 of them. And I was only going to do a few of them, and I ended up doing all of them. So I did 8 songs with these kids with poems, and yeah, they came out. They're just fantastic. I mean, it only can be written by a 6th grader. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go on my YouTube page, is Acoustic Wisdom. It's down there.
Get it right there.
Yeah. So you go to that link, you can watch that video, and I made 8 different videos for each one. It's all kind of compact in one video, but it goes back to back. And yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Now, I know that you are starting to get back out in the world again and do some performances with real live people instead of on Zoom. Can you tell us about a few things you have coming up?
So I got to look here, it's July 24th, Saturday, July 24th. I play in a mandolin ensemble every once in a while. That's called the Harrisburg Mandolin Ensemble. And it's not a whole big orchestra kind of thing. There's just 4 of us. So I play mandolin, octave mandolin, I sing. We got another guy who plays mandolin and mandocello and sings. another guy who plays mandolin, another guy who plays mandola and sings. And so it's all like mandolin family kind of
Hmm.
music. And so we've got a show coming up, like I said, on the 24th, and it's at Lidditz Library. It's going to be an outside event, and I think that's at 1 o'clock. You can find that harrisburgmandolinensemble.com. You can find where we're going to be playing. That's one show. Another show that we're doing that same week is a private thing. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that's what's coming up. The other solo gigs are coming in slowly but surely. I've got some things coming up in the fall. So there's like an Apple festival I'm doing and things like that. But
Okay, and
yeah,
do you have a place where you advertise that information so that our fans can look?
yeah, kevinneidig.com is where they'll find that stuff.
Okay,
Um, yep,
all
the
right,
schedule's all on there.
very good, very good. Now, what's your favorite song to perform, whether it's yours or someone else's a cover? You know, what song is really like your go-to song if you just want to chill out and relax? And
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, I love playing my own original stuff. I would say, man, there's so many good songs that I just love playing. I love playing Midnight Moonlight. That's a song that Peter Rowan wrote. Um, mm, you put me on the spot. Ginseng Sullivan, which is a bluegrass song by Norman Blake. I love playing that. Yeah. Um, there's some music by Jeff Black. I don't know if you've ever heard of Jeff Black before, but amazing songwriter. And I do a number of his songs, and I always love playing his songs. They just have like melodically they're fantastic, and they're just good.
so, what first got you into music, and when was it?
My grandfather played uh, keyboard and little guitar, and so I actually started playing the keyboard when I was 3. And I remember going to my grandparents' house, and I would sit there with a plug pair of headphones into the organ, and I would sit and just hit all the buttons and push all
Hmm.
the different sounds that you can make. And I remember learning the beer barrel polka,
Hmm.
In the Mood, the Glenn Miller In the Mood, and yeah, so he taught me those songs, and I learned those by ear, and then I started learning how to read music. Then we had like the these books that had all the classic songs, like Song Blue in it, and
Hmm. Hmm.
different things like that. And the notes were gigantic, and it had like the letter name written inside of it, so you could tell. And
Ah,
so I'd look, okay, that's a C, that's a quarter note, and that means this. And so I just kind of taught myself how to read like that. And yeah, so I've been playing music since I was 3, and I just loved it, man. I would sit there for hours with you know headphones like these on, actually much bigger than these. At least they felt when I was 3, um, and older. And I went from there to playing drums. Played snare drum in 6th grade, 6th and 7th grade, I think. I played for 2 years, and kind of got uh, maxed out on that. It was a little, uh, it wasn't really what I wanted. I loved the drums, and I loved learning the rhythms, but it didn't have the melody to it. It didn't really hold people's attention as much as say like playing guitar did. And so when I was 12, my grandfather showed me some. He knew like 4 chords on the guitar, so he showed me all the chords that he knew on the guitar. And I was like, okay, and I just picked it up right away. I just started playing immediately, and I was like, this is really cool. And so that started a whole big thing, and
mhm.
took off from there. So that's basically how I got my start.
Now, if you could open a show or play with any artist ever, dead or alive,
Okay.
who would you like to play with? Who would you like to have at your side?
Man, there's two. There's two, and they're both completely different. Like I always thought it would be awesome, and you're gonna think this is totally weird, but I always thought it would be awesome to play in Megadeth. I
Okay.
I
That was
I
unexpected.
I love I love heavy metal music. I love progressive metal music, and there's just something about that man, if I could be in that band to play a night, oh man, that would be so fantastic. And the other would be Sam Bush, and to play in the Sam Bush band would be just amazing.
That's
So
quite a difference in sounds, that's for sure.
yeah,
So, you know what? Since you have all this experience, so you've been playing since you were 3 years old, why don't you give us another taste of what you have and tell us about your next song?
okay. So this next song is called Rain Down, and I wrote this with actually. You're probably familiar with NERFA and the Northeast Folk
Yes.
Regional Alliance thing.
Yes, we're familiar with NERFA. Yes.
Yes. So, and if you're watching this and you're not familiar with NERFA, imagine a big resort that's filled with like 500 folky guitar players and things, and all trying to get shows playing in hotel rooms and things like that. And so like the music that I write, I find that is just different than the stuff that I would find at like NERFA, like the
Mhm.
typical NERFA song or typical artist. I always felt like just like the odd man out when I was there, and I was like, I need a legitimate folk song. My songs don't sound like that. And um, amazingly enough, I ended up writing this in the shower right after a NERFA conference.
It's hard to
And
get that
so,
paper. It's hard to get that paper not to fall apart in the shower, though.
yeah, right. um, so so this song came out of that. It's
Hmm.
uh, it started off one particular way, and I had recorded this with a folk duo that I was in called Voxology, and later on I re-recorded it and basically rewrote the song. I just dismantled it. I changed the key. I changed how the melody was, and I think it just seemed to be better to me.
Hmm.
And that one is on, I think not the long road. I can't go back. I think that's the album that one's on.
Okay. Well, why don't we give it a listen?
Great.
When children's cries make tears in your eyes, let it rain down on me. When no food or home is all you've known, let it rain down on me. When your life is done before you've begun, let it rain down on me. Some dreadful disease brings you to your knees, let it rain down on me. Let it rain down, let it rain down, let it rain down on me. Let it rain down on me. Let it rain down on me. When they can't relate and turn to fear and hate, let it rain down on me, and you can't get through past their point of view. Let it rain down on me. But it feels like hell. Yes, it feels like hell. It feels like hell raining down. So when does the light of day come back our way? 'Cause it feels like hell raining down. Give the devil its due. When it rains down on you, sometimes there are things you cannot face without some peace, mercy, and grace. Let it rain down, let it rain down, let it rain down on me. Let it rain down on me. Let it rain down on me.
Well, we're back from that song. That's quite an accomplishment, considering you don't normally write songs in that with that kind of a sound and feeling. So very well done, very well done.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Now, people love to give advice to you. It's been happening to me, and I'm pushing 70 years now, and people just like to hear their own voices and like to give you advice and tell you what to do and how to do it. And have you ever been given advice, and good advice? Have you ever heard any great advice that you have taken forward with you?
Ah, man, great advice. I don't think anyone that I can think of. All these people are like, my daddy used to say, and my mama used to say. No, I'd have to think long and hard about that. But I will say that good advice, one bit of good advice came from the Tao Te Ching, actually. So Lao Tzu was telling me this piece of advice, and like the basic gist of it is, like, don't show anybody your work until it's done. And I think that is such a phenomenal piece of advice, because if you're just working on something. Now, I'm not saying, like, if you had a teacher, or a mentor, that's a completely different thing, right? But if you say, hey, I'm writing this song and I'm in the middle of this and it's not completely done, but I want to show my friend. Well, as soon as you show that friend, that's just like you said, that's exactly when the advice starts to happen.
Yes, it does.
Right? And as soon as that advice starts to happen, immediately the creativity gets shut off.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't go in the direction that I was thinking of. Maybe that's better. And to me, not a good thing. When it's done, you make it the way you want. You are the artist, and unless you've got a mentor, someone working with you, that's their job. But show them the finished product. Don't let them see all the thousands of hours of work that you put into it. And that's one of the things that, like these videos that you make. People watch the video and they'll say, well, that was nice, that was fun, but they're never going to think, well, how many hours did Joe put into that? How much money did he spend for the cameras and the computers and the microphones and all the expertise that he has to know how to edit all of that stuff and how long it takes him to get the musicians to interview them. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff. But in the end, it's really not their business, you know? They just need to see the final product.
Exactly. It's when you talk about any kind of a creative process, the process itself, unless you hate what you do, should be an act of love. Should be an act of love.
Yeah.
And if I put in 20 hours on a 3-minute song, or if I put 200 hours on that 3-minute song, for me, it's all enjoyment. It's not like work. And I'm sure that you feel the same way about this sort of thing. So yeah. When people tell you, why didn't you do this? Why do you do that? Why? No, don't ask me why. Just shut up and listen. I did it for me. That's why. So now with your creative process, when you come up with new stuff, what do you do first? Do you usually come up with a melody, or do you come up with an idea for the lyric, or is it a combination back and forth between things depending on the song? What's your typical way of creating a song?
I don't really have a typical, but they come in. I've had like the song that we're going to hear next is "Don't Take My Gun." That came in a dream. I have songs that start off with maybe just something that I play on the guitar, something that I play on the mandolin or the piano or the banjo or the ukulele, or sometimes I might be driving in a car and something happens, or I see something funny and I come up with a phrase and all of a sudden I put it to a melody and I'm like, that can be a song. You know, there's a song that I have called Same Suit that I wrote in the parking lot of Sheetz, which if you're not from Pennsylvania, Sheetz is like a big kind of gas station / food place. And, and that just came to me. And then I put music to it. I've got, if you look at my phone and other recording things, man, I have probably over 100 different guitar, every instrument you could think of, and lyrics and all of this kind of stuff that are just unfinished songs. and they get put together when they get put together in all different ways. I will say that there seems to be like a form, if you are familiar with like the Socratic forms, there's like this unmanifested form of a song, let's say. And I know what it is. At least I know what it isn't. I'll say that. I know what the form isn't. So when I'm writing a song and I'm playing something, but like, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Boom. Ooh, that's it. So that stays, right? And then like the arrangement and things just kind of fit like a puzzle. And then when it's done, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was supposed to be. So it's like you just kind of like channel the music, and if there's a process, that's it. If it doesn't fit that mold, I don't think it's any good.
My writing process, I usually do back and forth between melody and words. Sometimes it'll be one, sometimes it'll be the other. That'll be the start of a new composition. But perhaps the most interesting piece is I could have words and music all put together and sitting on paper for 2 years, 3 years, and then I'll go back and I'll look at it and say, I could have done those words, the lyrics a little bit better, and I'll all of a sudden come up with new lyrics that make better sense or have more emotion. Whatever it is whatever I saw that was, in my opinion, wrong, I fix, and then I do it. And even though people may have heard it in its old raw version, generally speaking, that change winds up being an improvement that they like, generally, not always, but generally. It's been an interesting process for me, and I find, what the heck? like I said before, it's for me, and if I want to change something, I'll go ahead and change it, and don't ask me why, because I don't know.
Yeah. I changed it because I can.
That's right. Now, you mentioned you had another song to give us, and why don't you talk a little bit more about that, and we'll listen to that too.
Okay. So this is Don't Take My Gun, and this one is from the new album, Writing with Fire. And I have a music video for this too on my YouTube page and my website that I completely animated. I hand drew everything, and that was an ordeal because my artistic skills and drawing are not that great, but it was a lot of fun.
I've seen it. Hey, everybody, I've seen it. It's a good one.
Thank you. And like I said, this one came to me in a dream. I was in the dream, and I was at an open mic night in the dream, and this woman was playing, and she was playing this song, and in the dream I was like, that is a really good song. It was just like the melody of it, and was really impressed with it. And then later on in the dream, I had become lucid in the dream and realized, like, wait, this is my dream. This is my song. This is my song. So, and I woke up and so still in that kind of like state of reverie or whatever you want to call it. And like my ear is pretty good. I can listen to songs and I can tell you what the chords are, just by listening. I can listen to something and pick up my guitar and just play it. And so that comes in really handy when you're dreaming a song. So I'm just laying there just trying to figure out what chords is this? Okay, it's going here, it's going here. Okay, so I got enough down. I picked up the guitar and wrote down the lyrics that I was hearing and stuff. And so this is what came out. And, usually when I introduce this and I say it's Don't Take My Gun, people are like, oh my gosh, the NRA is in town. Like, no, this is not what the song's about.
No, it's actually quite different than you would expect.
Yeah. So, I think I'll let the song speak for itself.
I think that's a great idea. Why don't we do that now?
A long time ago, when things were harsh and tough, Johnny had a flintlock. He said it was enough. His daddy fought the front lines, saved this holy ground. When they asked where his daddy is, he said he's in the ground. Now I have his gun. Johnny robbed the train car, said hold your hands up high. If I see one nervous twitch, one of you's gonna die. Now Johnny's rich and running, a hapless kid is gone. He said, I never meant to hurt no one, but please don't take my gun, don't take my gun. Don't take my gun. Saved up his wages from working to buy a small sidearm. Johnny needed protection from someone who meant him harm. He got in a little showdown he shouldn't even drawn. He said, I never meant to hurt no one, but please don't take my gun, don't take my gun. Don't take my gun. Out of a battle back of a car at the local pawn at the weekend expo show. In a dark back alley east side of town, just cough up your dough. Hidden from a public eye, a dark nap by shows up in the mail. Now the only way you're gonna take it is if he's dead or going to jail. Johnny's always getting bullied. Someone's pushing Johnny around. Someone's gonna take it too far, and Johnny's gonna come unwound. He's gonna show you who he is, make us dance in the sun. You know, he really means to hurt someone, but he still lays his gun. He still has his, he still has his, he still has his.
See, now, didn't I tell you that was a great song? And I love the cartoon. I really love the cartoon. That's a great idea. What made you think of the cartoon?
I just wanted to do it. I mean, I found this app on my iPad. I did the whole thing completely on my iPad.
Oh,
And it was called Loom, Loom. So it's 3 O's.
oh,
And
okay.
and so I was doing with my Apple Pencil and yeah. So it took a long time, but put it all together, and that's
Well, success, 100% success as far as us.
thank you.
So we're about done, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to give us any last thoughts you might have before we go.
Well, thank you, Joe, for having me on. This has been awesome, and
Been a
thank you
pleasure.
everybody. Thank you everybody for listening. I know there's like thousands of musicians out there vying for everyone's time, so I really appreciate that. My website again, kevinneidig.com. There's a little join button on there. You can join the mailing list. I send out an email, I don't know, maybe once or twice a month about different things. If you like what you hear, sign up for the instrumental monthly. Like I said, that's just pay what you want, and I think that you'll really enjoy that. I'm working on the newest one right now, which should be out. Well, by the time this airs, it's probably will have already come out for July. I do house concerts, other things like that. If you have an idea and you're like, hey, I want to have Kevin come play at my house or something like that, contact me, Kevin Neidig at kevinneidig.com, and that's all on my website. You can just email me through there. And yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, and if you're interested in music lessons, you want to learn how to play clawhammer banjo or get better on guitar or ukulele or mandolin, whatever. I do all of the things online. You can contact me about that. I do correspondence lessons where if maybe you don't have time to meet me, I will do a video for you and send that to you, and we can just send videos back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that's available. Tons of stuff.
Well, folks, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed listening to Kevin and myself as we mused on various subjects, and I'm sure you enjoyed the music. Be sure to tune again next 2 weeks. We'll be back with a new show and hopefully a new artist. We're working on a number of different people to get on the show at this point in time. I have at least 3 people lined up and possibly a 4th. And if I get that 4th person, it will be a real feather for our cap, as it were, because that person is not just a musician, but a very famous actor and musician. And I'm not going to give away any secrets until I know for sure whether we're going to get him on the show. Until we meet again, please be smart, stay safe. We still don't know how this pandemic's going to work out, if it's going to get worse again, if there's going to be all kinds of other things going on as a result of variants that come up. So just play it safe and don't do anything that puts your life at risk. We like seeing you. We like having you out there, and we enjoy having you on our Christmas card list, as it were. Be well, stay safe, and remember, like I tell you every single time that we have a show at the end, keep peace in your heart. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.